Kia ora koutou, sorry we're late everybody. That is what happens when you place your trust into machines, I suppose. Thank you so much for joining us for the third Working with Manawanui live stream, and we're so glad to be able to have Marsha along today. Marsha, I'm not going to do too much more talking today because we want to allow you the space to talk to the people and allow them to provide feedback. But Simon is here as well,
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you again.
just off the side there. Marsha, welcome.
Thanks, Jake. Kia ora, everyone. Welcome. This is my very first live stream, so quite experimental in my view, and certainly I apologize for the technical issues. It is difficult to rely on technology, but I'm really pleased to be here and to be able to answer your questions directly. If I can't answer them, then we will, I promise to go away and find an answer, and we'll post a response on our Facebook site tomorrow. We also, of course, welcome your feedback and most importantly, any ideas that you have for service improvement for us going forward. That's really important to us. We won't, of course, be answering any personal questions. Your personal questions are, you have to call our help desk. We just can't do that because of privacy issues, and I'm sure that you can all understand that. But service-related things, I'm really happy to answer. So on that note, I'll take your questions.
Awesome.
We're still waiting for them to come in.
Oh, okay. Well,
at
while
this
we're
point,
waiting.
Marsha, yeah.
Yep. So while we're waiting, perhaps I can give you a little bit of an update on what Manawanui has been up to lately. Of course, you will know, or you will have heard, that we have been acquired by Bill English and his family, and that there is a video on our website that you can go to where he is addressing you as our clients and providing some background in terms of his motivation, which is good, and I'm happy to take questions on that. We're also very involved in the disability system transformation in the Manawatu. We're helping to look at how we can make that really, really easy for people. The system transformation is called Manawanui Q+A. And that is really exciting in that it's providing a lot more choice, control, and flexibility for people. So we're really excited about it. We're being as involved as in that as we can. So if you live in the Manawatu and you have any questions, make sure that you ask. We're doing some big improvements to the employee platform, and most exciting from my point of view is that we're doing a on-call pool, and that will sit on the employee platform. So that's for people who have emergency backup requirements for support workers. So for example, if all of your support workers go off sick, you could go to that on-call pool and find someone to fill in on a temporary basis. Do you have a question yet?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll continue.
It's going smooth at the moment.
Okay, so the employee on-call pool will involve Manawanui doing a mass recruitment drive and then using our clients, our customers, to help us to screen those people. We will then do a Manawanui induction, and that will involve talking to people and inducting them into what it means to provide support in an IF context. So, for example, who's the boss? Who says what goes? And how do you operate as a support worker in that context as opposed to working for a provider, for example. One of the other exciting things that we're doing is providing a little bit more HR support for people who require it. A lot of people who come on to individualized funding in the beginning stages are quite anxious about what it means to be an employer. And whilst they want to be self-directed and to have choice, control, and flexibility, they don't necessarily have the confidence or the skills. If they've never been an employer before, been a boss before, that can be quite scary. So we're going to provide some additional support if people need it to get going on individualized funding. Right now we're calling that stepping stones, but we're open to names if you have any suggestions. Yeah, so we're excited about that one as well.
I have a question for you, Marsha.
Yes, Simon?
Have you had any travel outside the office lately in your capacity as Manawanui Chief and Chairman?
I sure have.
Yeah.
So we've been down to Christchurch for the network meetings. Those were really well subscribed, and we did a morning session and an evening session in Christchurch, and then we went to Ashburton, and then we went to Timaru. Those network meetings are really important to us, and we've reprioritized them, and I come to as many of those as possible. The purpose of those meetings is for us to give you updates, collect feedback in terms of how the service is working for you, collect your ideas, and also to make sure that you connect with each other to share ideas. One of the things that I've seen over my time, which is almost 8 years now here, is that when people share ideas, magic happens. It really does, because you realize that there's different ways of doing things that you hadn't necessarily thought of, and also you can gain support from other people who are using individualized funding. So down in Christchurch, Bill English came to those 2 sessions and spoke to the group around what his motivations were in terms of getting involved with Manawanui, so that was really positive. So there's a whole list of network meetings that are coming up. We have them scheduled, or we're in the process of scheduling them throughout the country for the entire year. So take a look at the website. If there's a network meeting in your area, come along. I'd love to see you, and I'd love to talk to you. Any more questions, Simon?
No, still waiting.
I think people are loving what you're talking about right now, Marsha.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they can hear us.
Okay.
You tested that.
Okay, good. So I'll continue with a little bit of an update then. We continue to improve the client web portal and the mobile app. So if you don't use the web portal now, give it a go. It makes things a lot easier. You can do everything on that web portal that we used to do on paper. If you don't if you're on a live stream, you probably are pretty technologically savvy, but you don't have to use it, but it does make things much, much easier for you. You can add employees, you can take employees off, you can fill out your timesheets, you can set your budget, and you can reset your budget if something has gone differently throughout the year than you thought. You can do absolutely everything. And I guess what's most exciting for me is it's in real time. The balances and all of your transactions are visible, and they are current to 24 hours. I have had some feedback that some people haven't been able to do certain things on the portal. If you're having any trouble with it at all, there's 2 things you can do. You can call your coach, and they'll talk you through it, or you can call our customer experience center, and they will talk you through it. And if those people can't help you with it, then our portal support team can. So if you are having any trouble, please do give us a ring and let us know.
Marsha, this is not a question that's come through just now, but one that I often get, the Fund for Good.
Yes.
People are very excited to know what our plans are for that program. Is there anything you can say tonight at all about it?
Well, what I can say is that we're continuing this. Last year, we were oversubscribed for that, as you can well imagine. So the Fund for Good, we established so that we could give people support to start things like micro enterprises, or to do things that are really difficult to access funding for. So, for example, tuition, conferences, like I said, micro enterprises, things that there is no formal funding for, and families and people with disabilities have a really hard time accessing. So there's a set of criteria that is on the website. Jade here administers it, so he has an interest in asking that question. However,
Possibly.
we are continuing that into next year. So the next round we've got starting in November. It's really important to say that it's in terms of the Fund for Good, you submit a proposal, and like I said, go to the website and it'll show you the criteria. And it's not us that makes the decision. We assemble a panel of our clients and stakeholders to make that decision. So it's as objective as it can possibly be. Last year, we supported 16 people, was it, Jade?
Yes.
16 people to get funding. There was some really exciting outcomes, like there was one person who applied for funding to get an ice cream truck, an ice cream machine to have on a truck.
That
so
was
he
so
could-
cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. Another person wanted to buy a couple of chickens because he was selling eggs. And, it's just
I think
stuff
it was
that...
more like 30 chickens.
Was it
there,
30
actually.
chickens?
Oh, wow.
It's a few.
Okay, so it's a lot of it's really exciting stuff, and it gives people the opportunity to do something different and to get the funding to do that. So take a
Thanks.
look. Yeah, take a look. I guess the other thing, if there's still no questions.
Yeah. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. We
There's
feel
people
like
in the chat, they're just hanging out there watching.
they're just broing.
Yeah.
They're just,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you've joined us. I guess the next piece of news that I could talk about is pay equity.
Good point.
That's coming up. You will all be aware of this. A couple of years ago, a lady by the name of Christine Bartlett won a court case to make sure that pay for support workers in disability and aged care was fair, and that caused a change in that drove a change in the legislation. So the pay rates have gone up, and over a four-year period, they keep going up each year. So this year, July 1, the minimum wage that you can pay your support people is $20.50. So as of July 1, you have to be on $20.50, unless it's a night rate. If you have overnight workers, you can pay them the new minimum wage, which is $17.50. And if your support workers have qualifications, then there's different rates for level 2, level 3, level 4, and those are all on our website. We will be getting a hold of you if it looks like on our payroll system you have any employees that are paid less than that. So if we do get a hold of you, that's what it's about. And just be aware that as of July 1, those pay rates need to go up. Some people have asked about whether or not they'll get extra funding for that. We have asked the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Health said they're working on it, but they don't know yet. So that's all I can say about that. Currently, you're funded at $30 an hour with your funding allocation package. So technically, that should cover the cost of pay equity plus the cost of employment. And if you remember, you have to pay your basic hourly rate, which will be $20.50 or whatever it is at level 2, 3, and 4. And then you have to add 20% for the cost of employment, which is your PAYE and your KiwiSaver and your ACC and that sort of thing. So I just want to make sure everybody's really well aware of that. I guess no questions still?
Still waiting.
I hope you can all get through. It might be a technical issue, but if it is, what I do want to say is that I'm really happy to take emails and phone calls. So marsha.marshall@manawanui.org.nz. If you have a question that you can't ask tonight, or you haven't been able to get through, or something's not working, please do email me. I'm really, really happy to answer all those questions. I guess the other update is that people might not know about is we have a partnership with a company that used to call themselves Need a Nerd. Now they're actually, the company name is NZ Tech, but Manawanui has established a partnership with them, and they offer us really good prices on computer technological solutions, so laptops, smartphones, tablets, computer bundles, printers, anything you might need to manage your IF. And you can purchase those using your IF. So if you happen to be a new client, or somebody who not even a new client, if you need computing technology, you can talk to your coach. The great thing about this is not only are they good prices, but these guys will package it up, courier it to your door, and if you need help setting it up, they'll come out and set it up for you in person. So it's a fantastic service. And it actually enables you to be connected. So If you didn't have a computer and you couldn't live stream, you'd be missing out on this. Anyway, so that's another update.
Well, I've got one update that could follow on from that, Marsha,
Yes.
that haven't spent much time on, but it's a new initiative, is a partnership with Spark Jump.
Oh, yes,
So-
this is exciting.
Yes, so Spark Jump is a charitable offshoot of the Spark organisation, and their purpose is to get people connected to the internet who don't have a current connection. So they work with families who have school-age children who don't have a current internet connection, and they offer broadband connections for really cheap prices. And so we're looking at getting set up as a partner. So all of our coaches in the regions can work with the families that are there and get people set up with an internet connection, and they can start using the portal and employ and start doing all the wonderful
Amazing.
things that we do.
Fantastic. That's
And
great.
then for the cheap price of $10 a month, it's prepaid, and they get 30 gigabytes of internet. So
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can probably get it approved so that people can use their funding to pay for the internet.
Yay. That's great. Well, and just on that note, what I didn't say about the disability system transformation is one of the most exciting things, and this is happening with respite as well, is that the purchasing guidelines are softening and broadening. So, and you can probably speak a little bit to this, Jade.
Yep.
The under the Manawanui Q+A program and the Enabling Good Lives in Christchurch and the Enabling Good Lives in the Waikato, the purchasing guidelines have loosened significantly. So under traditional IF, you can buy hours of support and associated overheads, and you can get creative about that. But under Manawanui Q+A and the other demonstration, the other Enabling Good Lives demonstrations, basically it's you can buy it if it meets your goals and fits with your plan, if it's not illegal, clearly, and if it's not funded anywhere else. Am I correct, Jade?
Yeah, I think the point of difference is that ministers have understood that disabled people and families know what's best for their lives.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something that can be prescribed in Wellington. And the other thing is, you know, trusting disabled people and families, because I don't mind saying that potentially policies haven't necessarily trusted disabled people and families with the money.
Yeah.
So it's really great to see.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say not potentially, but for sure. So it's been a long journey. You know, getting individualized funding rolled out across New Zealand. I remember when that was a bit of a battle. So we've come a long, long way, and I think that regardless of what happens with the system transformation, that will be a positive outcome. You know, that all of these demonstration projects are going on concurrently. The system transformation has taken the Christchurch Enabling Good Lives learnings and the Waikato Enabling Good Lives learnings and said, actually, this is something that should apply across the nation. So it's happening until 2020, and then they'll evaluate it at that point, and then, fingers crossed, roll it out across New Zealand. So, you know, even if we don't get the full meal deal, and what the full meal deal looks like is that there's two teams. There's a connector team, which meets with you and connects you to your community and all of those supports that you might not even realize are out there. So community groups that support your interests and your aspirations and your lifestyle. And then there's a funding group where the connector meets with the person, and then you go to the funding group and get your formal allocation package for support. So even if it doesn't look like that at the end, the best part of it that I think is that those purchasing guidelines will change. Yeah. So operationally, I'm not sure how it will all look at the end of the day, but certainly I think that more and more and more, the Ministry of Health is saying, let's do more with this money, let's make better use of it, let's really support people to have good lives. And certainly here at Manawanui, we try our best to say yes wherever we can. So, you know.
If I may, I guess one of the things you haven't picked up on just yet, Marsha, is co-design. So,
Yes.
so one of the key features of system transformation is co-design, and we've been doing a lot of thinking around that here in Manawanui.
Yeah, absolutely. So our approach to this, to all of these demonstration projects, is how can we be of help? How can we be of assistance? So, in terms of meeting the in two respects. In terms of meeting the requirements of the program, so how can we make it flow easy for the program people, but also how can we make it easy for you? So as an example, what we're trying to do is expand out some of the stuff on the portal so that you can do budgets for personal budgets. And what that means is under the Manawanui Q+A program, you get a personal budget, and you can be direct funded. So you don't even need a Manawanui if you don't want one. And we're good with that. If you're independent, then that's a good thing. If you don't need us, yay. We like to be needed, but if you don't need us, that's even better. And our vision is to make you as independent as possible. So whatever we can do to assist you to be independent, that's where we're going to go. And I think that we take a co-design approach at Manawanui based on that. So we'll work with people who are in these programs to say, how can we support you? What do you need us to do? And along with the program people. And I think one of the biggest things about self-direction, as opposed to traditional service delivery, is that we don't say what we can do, we ask what we can do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we say, what do you need, as opposed to, we think you need this. And wherever possible, we'll design and deliver that service.
So, Marsha, I think that the audience have taken the approach just to sit back and relax on this one.
Okay, well.
It's been really interesting.
No questions, I thought I'd be inundated. But like I said, I'm going to say it again. My email is marsha.marshall@manawanui.org.nz. So please email me if you have a question. My phone number over the interweb is 027-225-3357, and I'm really happy to take phone calls. Just before we go, though, we have a few more minutes, yes?
Yep, we can take a few more.
I want to remind everybody that we offer an employment protection package, and I'm not trying to sell anything here. What I'm trying to say is that as an employer, you can find yourself in risky situations without even knowing it. For example, I liken it to buying a new car. You go and look at this new car, and it's a shiny thing, and you think that's fantastic. And then you get the car home, and it breaks down. So that's the same as hiring. You can find somebody who looks really good on paper and sounds really good, and then you get them into your home, and it doesn't work out. So that can put you in a risky situation, and we've had a few of those. So the employment protection package, you can look it up on our website, but basically it offers employment liability insurance, and it does cover you if you get in a sticky situation. We have a really good insurer who has paid out on personal grievances quite readily, actually. So it costs $199. It's cost recovery, basically, for us. We don't make a margin on that, and you get a bunch of little resources in the package as well. So it protects you.
And support at any time, right? So you can call up their helpline and give them an employment dispute right at the beginning of the conversation, so that they can guide you through the whole way and hopefully avoid any sort of court battles that might arise. So it's always good to get in there at the start, talk about any possible issue that could arise.
Yeah, you have to get in at the start. So if you do have and if you hire somebody that looks shiny and new, and they aren't so shiny and new, and your flag goes up that this is going to be a problem, then you call the insurer right away and say, I think I might have a problem here, and they can talk you through it. We also have, of course, the EMA membership. So Manawanui has an umbrella membership with the Employers and Manufacturers Association, and they also give you advice too. So you just need to call them up if you have a problem or a question, and say you're a Manawanui client, and they'll help you. The other thing I just want to mention, because it's tax season, is that the IRD sends out, and I know that this we get all kinds of questions this time every year. They send you an IR3 form and say that because you're receiving money and you're employing people, that you have to fill it out. There's two things you can do. Well, there's three things you can do. You can call them and tell them that you're on individualized funding and to make a note. We go to the IRD every year and we update their contact center, but because of their high attrition, it's probably not a good job working at the IRD contact center. So I shouldn't say that out loud really, but anyway, they have high attrition. So every year we have to go back and say, okay, this is not income, right? So you might not get a positive response to that. So you can do that though if you want. Or you can fill out the IRD with zeros and send it back, or you can rip it up and ignore it. And you can do that because there's legislation that has come out now that says quite clearly, and I did put this in the newsletter, that disability support funding is not income. So you are safe, don't worry about it, and don't let it stress you. If you have any questions, and you can call the help desk, of course, our customer experience center, but just so you know, you do not have to worry about filling out an IR3 form.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just as a roundup, Marsha, did you have fun tonight?
Well, I have to say it's my first live stream, so I did expect a bunch of questions. So yeah, I had fun talking to a camera. But I hope next time that we'll get people asking those tough questions.
That's
Will you be open to doing this again?
Absolutely, we'll do it regularly.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Simon, anything from you?
I'd just like to thank you, Marsha. I don't think you find many senior people in organisations being as accessible as you, giving out your email and phone number online. So I mean,
yeah, the phone number thing I was a little worried about, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think a lot of people appreciate that. So thank you for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
It's been fun.
My
I think
pleasure.
so.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
So I just want to say thank you to all of you that did show up tonight. Sorry about the technical issues that we had in the front. Look forward to more working with Manawanui live streams coming really soon. Simon's got his finger up.
I do, because Hannah has just dropped a question in the chat. She says, I live in a remote part of NZ. Does Manawanui work for me?
Yes, absolutely. So Manawanui sometimes works better in remote areas because just because you have more flexibility to do stuff. The problem in remote areas is going to be sourcing staff, sourcing your support workers. So you got to get creative about that. But Manawanui works from top to bottom of the country, and we've had clients on the Chatham Islands. We've had clients on Stewart Island. And
wow.
Yeah, we've had clients all over the place. It works for you because you can be creative and you can do different things. You can be, and usually there's no home care agencies out there wherever you are. So sometimes Manawanui works better in remote areas. You just have to get really creative about finding your support people.
Awesome. And she's had a follow-up question. She says, can Marsha do another stream soon?
Absolutely. 100%, I will.
Awesome.
I think we originally planned to do these once every 3 months. So, but we'll do them according to demand.
It's really great. I think we have a schedule of these monthly.
Oh, do we? Okay.
So it's already been determined, but we haven't announced everything
All
yet.
right. Well, I'll just do what I'm told.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I think that's all for now. Again, thank you to everybody for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.